upper class and lower class division, right? None of us are lower class, probably. None of us are upper class. We're all middle class. And we talk about the 1% controls all of the rest of everybody else, the 99%, right? And they're only able to do that because we allow them to do that, because they keep us divided and we fight amongst ourselves, and we never come together as one unit and overthrow the weak, right? The 1%, the people who control the guns and control the manipulation and control the media. It really comes down to media. And I say that none of us are lower class because we all have a phone in our hand, except that they have done a good job of giving all the low class, even the homeless people now have phones, because the people with money give it to them because they appreciate it and they can program them and then get them to vote. Why am I making this video? I talk about this all the time. Every night I have this conversation with people on a live feed video I do. If you want to have more of these conversations and actually participate, at 9 o'clock I am typically on Facebook, and if Facebook won't let me, there's no rhyme or reason, sometimes I don't have the button to be able to go live, then I'll be on Instagram. And if you don't find me there, I'll be somewhere else. I will continue to have the conversation. I'm in some groups today, and it started this morning. I saw that Chevrolet is quietly canceling orders for custom Corvettes that they have ordered for customers. And why are they doing this? And people are like, well, supply chain issues. Of course, supply chain issues, except that the customers already put down their $5,000 deposit or more, and they're locked into the price. They're canceling these orders because the dude that was going to buy that Corvette, he's going to come back and buy the Corvette later under a different contract when it costs more. I'm in a Razor group. There's a pretty good Razor group. Dave Uptain runs it. I believe he owns a dealership. And Polaris is doing the same thing. This new Polaris is coming out, and Polaris has some 4-cylinder Razor coming out. And it's super expensive. It's like a $40,000 car, whereas a couple of years ago you were buying Razors for $20,000. Now they're $25,000. Now you're seeing $35,000 Razors, $35,000 Polaris North Stars, you know, Rangers, but they've got glass windshields, wiper blades, heaters. They're really like trucks now. And guys are building these up, and they got $50,000 side-by-sides. Very common. But Polaris they're canceling orders. I'm seeing people go, hey, I have an allocation for a Razor. You put $5,000 down, when it comes in, it'll be yours. You used to have to do that to buy high-end sports cars, Porsches, allocations for luxury goods, Rolexes. You would put your money down, it would lock you into that, and you would just wait until the dealership got it. Things are changing. Where I'm going with this is, in the Toyota groups, I have several Toyotas. I've bought several of them over the last couple of years. And I bought a 4Runner that was $55,000, fully loaded. You couldn't really get anything else on it. My truck, when I go to get my oil change, they offer me $60,000 to buy it back after I've already driven it for a year. I'm not selling my truck. My truck is sorted out. I know what's up with my truck. I have it set up how I want my trucks. And I'm not convinced, I am not confident that I can replace it, and definitely not in a timely manner. So the truck is where I want it. But they're selling them for $84,000. You can see them I'm in a bunch of 4Runner groups and TRD Pro groups, and every day dudes are like, look at this idiot. They're trying to sell this 4Runner for 85 grand. They're selling them. By the time you see the posting this guy made, all irate, you click the link, the truck already sold for 84 grand. That tells me I can sell my truck for 84 grand. Am I selling it? I'm not. I'm not selling it. I'm keeping all of my trucks. I'm not getting rid of anything right now. Times are changing, guys. This is a separation. It's just shifting the middle class. There's going to be no more middle class is what they're after. You have 1% of the people in the world that own half of everything, and we, all the rest of us, own the other half of everything. We don't want to sell it. They want to have it. They have to push you down into the lower class to free up all those fucking other things they want to buy so that they can snatch them up. They don't need them. They don't want them. It's just manipulation. It's a game to them. So who's paying $84,000 for a 4Runner that would have cost 50 grand a year ago, literally just 1 year ago, 2 years ago? The guys that were buying the $150,000 Range Rovers, they see times are changing. Times are changing. The dudes in that class that could have bought a $150,000 Range Rover, their money's getting tight. Everybody's money's getting tight. And they see that Range Rover they would have bought. They're like, maybe I should get something a little more capable. Maybe I'm going to have to run to the hills. And guys like us were like, yeah, buy a Dodge Ram, buy a one-ton truck, buy some stuff that can pull a trailer in case you got a bug out, whatever. That's not what they think. They think I should probably get something a little more capable. They look super cool in the parking lot at the mall with all the fucking stuff on them, and they're Legos. The Toyotas are just Legos. You can buy from thousands of different companies parts to bolt on, and guys like to bolt stuff on. Whether they're bolting titties on or they're bolting wheels on. Look how many guys have guns that they never train with that have fucking 3 pieces of optics or 4 optics on them. Just guys like to buy stuff, and if you sell them something that's modular, they will spend a lot more money with you. And that's what's happening. So the guy that would have bought the $150,000 Range Rover, he's got $150,000 he can spend. He buys the $84,000 4Runner. Now to you and me, that's $30,000 inflated. To him, he just saved half of his money and can buy a bunch more shit to put on that fucking 4Runner in case he ever uses it. And even if he's not ever going to use it, it is an endorphin release. It is fun. It is a hobby. It makes you feel good when you buy those parts and you put those parts on. It is something he can do on the weekend with his kid, or he can drop it off at another business and have all his parts bolted on, and he can show it off to his friends. And more importantly, most people nowadays do not live. They live on these phones. They're not out there getting their truck in the mud. They're not out there testing that winch out. They're not ever having to help recover anybody. They just like to show it off on the internet. And that's the whole universal basic income thing, right? I was talking about last night. I said, people were like, what's this new Meta? What's the new Facebook? It's got AI in it, right? So the future of AI, if you watch like Ready Player One or any of these video game movies, I've never even seen it. I bought it, tried to watch it, and I got a Russian copy. My guy Jeremy says, read the book, because 75% of Ready Player One is like animated. It's in the video game, kind of like Tron, I guess. So I'm going to actually listen to that on audiobooks and see I know what the gist of it is, but I want to actually hear it. So I said, look, you're going to sit with your virtual reality goggles in your corner on your couch, and you're just going to sit there. And there's going to be 50 other people with you in the room, sitting on their corner, right? And virtual reality, for most people, is better than their real life, because people don't want to create their real life. We have taken away the will, we've taken away the ability, we've taken away the drive, the motivation, the desire, whatever it is. If you're watching this, you're probably not in that category. But no, there are people out there, right? So what's going to happen? Guys are going to sit and jump in their program, and they're going to have their beautiful girlfriend, and they're going to have sex with their beautiful girlfriend, and they're going to sit there on their fucking couch next to a bunch of other dudes and jack off, and they're not going to care, because they're not seeing the dude jack off on his leg, and he doesn't see where his fucking jack off goes, right? Because that make-believe life is so much better than anything in their real life. So what's going to happen? They're going to sit there, they're going to become emaciated, they're going to fucking not feed, and eventually they're going to wither away. There were some movies about that. There was a movie kind of like that with Bruce Willis. You didn't go out in public, your symbiote or whatever went out, your cyborg went out in public, right? So you lived through these other things. That's where universal basic income comes in. The government is going to give you just a little bit of money to appease you to sit and do nothing until you wither away. You're going to eat the fucking pod, you're going to eat the bugs, you're going to live in the pod, you're going to be happy. And for most people, I mean, think about it. I heard Rob Bailey say the other day that I wish I could, you ever driving down the road and you have that little like bug splatter on your windshield, and you like line it up like it's a laser, and you just fucking imagine that you can just laser beam the car in front of you and just it goes away. We don't care where it goes, it's just gone. And Rob said, half the people in the world, I wish I could just fucking drown them. And his buddy's like, haha, whatever. He's like, no, I really think about that. Think about the people that you and I come in contact with every day that add nothing to you but frustrate, and really just they're there, right? Sure, they have some life or whatever. I don't care until they negatively affect me. But just stop and think about how fucked up the world is now. and how much better the world would be if those people who just did nothing and were such frustration just went and sat on the couch and did nothing and lived in their make-believe world. For most people, the make-believe world would be better. Think about how attached we are to the phone right now. You can go outside and see nature. I can go outside and see animals. I can go outside and pick my own food. I can go outside and create my own meat from the animals we raise. Yet we still get up in the morning and the first thing we do is check the phone. We used to check the phone to see if somebody said something to you, right? If there was a message, if you're waiting to see that girl you met or something, you're waiting on, notification that, your new car's in or whatever. It's not that anymore. We check notification to see how much thumbs up we got. That's what we're chasing, right? We're chasing those thumbs up. We're chasing that algorithm. If you really pushed me on what my job was every day, for the most part, it's social media. That really is, if you got to the meat and potatoes of what I do. Because if I don't do social media, then I don't sell product. You guys don't come and buy stuff because I didn't show it to you. My biggest outlet is Facebook because there's 750,000 of you on here. I've got Float, I've got MeWe, I've got Parler, I've got all these other places, but the money comes from Facebook and Instagram, and they manipulate you. Instagram just changed their algorithms so that you used to go into Instagram and put a filter or manipulate your picture. If I use a filter, it's so that it looks truer to real life. Know that. I'm not trying to trick you guys into buying something you get and you're like, it doesn't look like this. So you would go in there and you would do all of that stuff and make the picture look better, and you put all your text and your hashtags, you'd copy paste it, and then you'd leave that app and go to, for instance, Facebook. And then you would just copy paste all the words you already wrote, and you'd click photos, and that saved photo would be there. It doesn't save it anymore. Instagram has now made it so that you have to go through Instagram and click the note in order to share it into Facebook. And now they have locals and they've got MeWe. So everything shares from Instagram. Do you know what that means? That you didn't take the time to use your own photo editor first and put your words together first. That means when Instagram blocks you or Instagram finally gets rid of you, you lost it on all those platforms. So all those platforms that are set up now so that you can be independent of Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, everybody's lazy. They removed a step. They make you share it to those pages through the Instagram app. So when Instagram wants you gone, you are more reliant on Instagram. You can't just tell Instagram, hey, fuck off Instagram, because when you lose Instagram, it's all gone. Be aware of that, guys. Everything is commingled. And half of what you do through the day, probably more than even half, is for the gram, right? Just some thoughts, some shit I was talking about before I got busy and lost it out of my head. Do what you will with it. Leave some comments. Let's have a conversation. You want to have a real conversation? Participate. I'm live on Facebook or Instagram every night, guys. So the last part to that video, and probably the most important part to this video, is that you are being driven down. You're being pushed down to the lower class. And you have to make a decision if you're going to stand for that. Are you going to allow that to happen? Because it is happening. Your dollar is worth less money. Your dollar buys less. You're going to be eating lesser foods. There will be lesser foods available to you. Are you going to do something about it, or are you going to kick and crawl and scream and claw your way to the top? Because you can not go along with it. You can put yourself in a better position, but only you can do that. Nobody's going to do it for you. You're not going to take a class that tells you how to do it. You just simply have to do it. And if you're willing to slide down and be a lower class citizen financially, which will make you a lower class, there will be less things available to you. There will be less options for you, and your children will have less ability and options because of the choices you make right now. If you're fine with that, which I don't think any of you are if you're watching the things I say, so don't let it happen. Take steps to do the opposite. Take steps to put yourself in an advantage. During the Civil War, less than 3% of the people fought in the Civil War. There were tons of millionaires made during the Civil War because people saw opportunity. So seize the opportunity, create the opportunity, or invent it and convince people they need it. Don't let yourself slip further down. You actually have a potential right now. You have the ability right now to put yourself further ahead of where any place you've ever been. You can financially be better off. And people that, when they slide down and you don't, that puts you at a higher position automatically. So just be aware of it. Make your choices, make your decisions, and put shit in motion.